Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
I'm actually amazed that we're all friends. Mike, I will reach across this table and the whole entire world will hear me bitch slap you. Not punch you, slap.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
Welcome to Take on the World with
John.
Katie.
and
John.
John. You can't go 10 seconds into a podcast without being a complete douche.
I just like that the look on his face when he allowed you to introduce this podcast was pretty much the same thing that was going on in my mind. Like, here we go, Mike's gonna introduce the podcast like he always does.
If you want to take turns, all you got to do is say.
I
stole his thunder last
Did you?
He did at the end. You even commented on it.
week. So, anyways.
So
strap in and strap on, whatever your preference is.
don't strap on. Only for John.
I don't know.
I want to title this episode Faces of Death.
Which I think is a terrible, terrible.
Did you do the research for Faces of Death? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
What?
I don't want to
change
call
it again.
I want to call this Faces of Death.
Well, you'll come up with a good title before the end of the
Halfway through this, I'll come up with
Listen.
something much better.
Every
And it
week,
will be good. 'Cause
every week, Michael's like, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then 3 days later it changes. Okay, did you do your research on this,
it
and that?
never changes.
Changes.
I do not do change well.
He cut his mic off.
I do not do change well.
Actually, I think the title of this podcast should be "Fuck Around and Find Out," because that's what's going to happen. One of these ways of killing people is going to happen.
So this is.
Look around and find out, bitch.
Is it methods of torture or is it methods of execution?
It can be both.
Torture,
But I mean,
execution?
I was
Is it-
focusing mostly on execution because honestly, the way they build up through the years, it was torture. It wasn't. There was nothing really quick.
But in my research, I did find that one of the methods of execution was come up with because they thought other methods were torture.
Well, I mean, that's for the fucking pussies of the world.
Well, they were French, so.
Oh,
Kid. I mean, because I would
Stop
assume
playing with
that
your mic.
if you were tortured back in that time, you probably didn't live much longer after that, so you died.
Well, a lot of the methods of execution came from the Inquisition. And
The Spanish Inquisition?
bastards.
like some of the
What are you looking
research. What's that?
What you keep looking at?
I'm looking at your stupid St. Ides.
Do not make fun of saints.
I apologize, Saint
I
Ides.
mean, that's gonna. I just screamed.
Well, you always do stuff I told you not.
Anyways,
So anyway, methods of execution / torture, faces of death.
Fuck around and find out. Fuck
which, by
around
the
and
way,
find
I
out.
think half the shit on Faces of Death was fake.
I don't know.
I remember watching it.
I remember watching them.
Like, pop that VHS tape in there, you get the dubbing just right. And so there was like a legit couple on there that were real, but I think for the most part, it was
I don't know. Some of the stuff was pretty wicked. Some of it wasn't.
fucking wicked hot.
Wicked. It was a wicked pisser.
Gotta take a wicked hot shit.
So,
Got a wicked hot shit brewing.
this is Katie's topic.
It is.
So, and I got to tell you, Katie, I took a lot of joy, probably a little bit too much in researching this.
That's because you're a freak.
I don't dispute that at all. So this is Katie's topic. We'll let her start off.
Start off.
Go.
Okay.
Rock.
I don't really like being put on the spot.
Straight to
I
11.
apologize. Let me lead up to
I
it.
feel like
Katie,
this-
would you like to take over?
No, not really.
The where?
I usually just follow other people's leads. I do better that way.
Okay, well, today
Are
it's
you
all
Ed
on you.
Sheeran?
What?
Are you Ed Sheeran?
What song are you implying here?
Are you talking about following somebody's lead and the freaking Chinese takeout?
I don't know.
Ah,
I
it's
don't
one of his
either.
more popular
I'm not an
songs.
Ed Sheeran fan.
There's really, I mean,
I
he's
like
not.
Ed Sheeran.
He's not bad, but
Okay,
I'm not
whatever.
sure what we're talking about. Chinese takeout.
I don't feel any
Come
hair
on,
metal in that, so
I'm in
not
love with
down.
the shape of you or whatever.
Has nothing to do with Chinese takeout.
Yes, he does. He says that.
If I Google these lyrics right now and the words
says
Chinese takeout,
Talking about Chinese food and how she fills.
If I had
He'll
internet,
fill
I'd
up a
look it
bag
up.
and she fills up a plate.
they're talking about going to the buffet. They never actually say Chinese. That's just what's implied
Come
to
on.
you.
That's in your head.
Oh.
That's all in your head because you're
No
thinking of
more.
Chinese food.
No more plate for you, Matt. Get
racist.
out.
And I could
Yeah,
eat
that
some
was-
fried wontons. Dude. Oh.
Smash face.
I've heard of being called that before. A funny story. My aunt, she used to go to the buffet and she would put a Ziploc bag in her purse and she would steal all the crab legs.
Wow.
The grody ass crab legs that have been floating in that dirty fucking piss water.
I don't think it's actually.
I mean, well,
I think they throw some salt and butter in there too.
Fifth Street one.
Mm.
I don't go there.
I just like their Jello.
You know it's bad.
Really?
Yeah, they
You go
cut
to
it
the
up.
buffet for Jello.
You know it's bad when you're
Yeah.
like, they just had a violation for cockroach. Fuck it, you want to go? Yeah, let's go.
I'm pretty sure I've done that. Pretty sure I've done that.
I can't.
And you know what? I've never done die.
I'm a germaphobe. I can't do that.
I don't do well on buffets, man. I know I'm fat, but
The eyes are always bigger than your stomach.
I used to do really good on buffets.
you know
They
who
say,
does
"Hey,
well?
you bigger boy, you got to leave now.
There's people
Oh,
that-
no, you pay for 2.
You eat broccoli.
You've been here 4 hours. Get out."
I can't live now. Everyone else good luck.
But now I don't eat like that anymore. I'm old.
Yeah, it means your body's shutting down.
Back hurts.
It happened to my dog, too. Then he died.
Oh, thank you.
Did you see that shirt? It was a play on Bed Bath and Beyond.
No.
Or Bath and Body Works. It said back and body hurts.
Yeah, I did see that.
That's good stuff.
But anyway, so I guess I'll take the lead here.
So Katniss.
I got shit from Mike for not picking a topic because unlike these two, I actually work during the week. And
That's the big.
Are you shitting me?
I had a shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
I'm still talking. Okay. And I had a pretty bad week. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I was gonna do some like weird topic. It was pretty off the wall, and I'm like, no. What I want to do today? I want to kill somebody. So let's come up with a podcast about, humanity's most gruesome and brutal and fucking awesome ways to kill people that we don't do anymore because it's inhumane. I mean, define inhumane. But I mean, this shit's been around for what, thousands of years?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was like off.
And would you mind like paying attention?
I am paying attention.
Are you sure?
Look,
Or you did your research on your phone?
I'm researching right now.
Okay.
I have been interested in this for a long time.
You didn't
so
research this topic.
I don't have to. I know enough about it that I can
Really?
just rap. Fool.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Show you right.
Wow. I really wish we had the camera for this. But no.
Look at you with the cross side.
I mean, you think about torture, and back then they used it for punishment, but they also used it for like some really sick, twisted way of entertainment. And I'm not even gonna say sick and twisted because that'd be my shit. Like, you want to go to a movie tonight? Nah, I'm gonna save the $9 for the ticket. Let's go flay somebody alive.
Oof.
Done.
I also one of the things I found when I was researching some of these, there's no actual proof that some of these that were used. They were talked about as forms of execution or forms of torture, but there's no legitimate written proof anywhere that it actually happened.
What about the brazen bull?
She's up, dude. You
We're
can't just
going back
jump
and
in like
forth.
that.
Oh no, it's okay. Let's have John. Let's have
The Brazen
John.
Bull had several names, not just the Brazen Bull.
Yeah, I'm sure
The
if you did your research, you would know
I did.
that the first person, the inventor of it, was the first person to die in it.
Yes.
That's fucked up.
It
So
is.
you're right, Katie. Don't imagine these people back then. You're all just drunk the fuck up, high as a kite on whatever drugs they can get a hold of, and you just can do whatever the hell you want with no repercussions. Just, let's just go snatch somebody up from the village. And, snatch.
Let's go snatch somebody up.
Want to go snatch somebody up? Yeah, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
That's a form of torture in Kentucky.
So the Brazen Bull was also known as the Bronze Bull or the
Yeah,
Sicilian
show them
Bull.
the snatch.
If you show your snake here, you're going to get smacked.
Sick. All right, so rap about it.
Katie can show her
Let's talk
snake.
about it. I'm not showing any of my
Man,
snake.
I am so glad I didn't grow up back then. 'Cause-
Tell us what the Brazen Bull is, dude. Don't bring it up and not talk about it.
You know what? Fine, I'm done.
Again? He's going to throw a hissy fit again? Nobody even interrupted you, dude.
Yeah, okay, so it was a big, I guess, bronze cast bowl with a door on the side of it, and it would put the person in there, light a fire underneath of it, and there was a tube that came from the belly of the thing out its nose, so it was said that as the person was dying and being steamed alive, their screams would come through that tube and it would sound like a bull. Fucking horrible if you think about
I
it.
guess.
This is one of the
right
ones.
alive.
This is one of the ones where some modern scholars question whether the Brazen Bull ever existed and attributed reports to a fearsome invention and early propaganda. Like they said, this is what we're going to do to you, but it never actually happened to anybody. So there's no documented proof that it actually happened to anybody, except for the story about the inventor, which you'll go to right now because you brought it up. I don't, you don't have to know his name. I'll find it.
If I only had internet access.
That's a sore topic.
He doesn't have the Wi-Fi password. He's not allowed. He didn't pay his.
Yeah, I do. I have it. I'm online.
Great.
I
I'm I'm changing it.
I called the guy next door too. And
You
told
gave
him.
it to my daughter.
Wow, sneaky.
That is sneaky.
That is
dude.
fucking sneaky.
It's not
That's
my
some
fault it
snake
remembers
shit.
it.
Huh. Well, I revoke your privileges. Only for your daughter.
So tell the story about that. You don't know the guy who invented it, but tell the story.
Why you put me on blast, bro?
Because I can.
What else do you want me to mention about it?
I don't know.
You don't know
You seemed pretty excited. Like maybe this might go longer than the 5 seconds of it was the brazen bull.
You wanted to jump in front of Katie and
Oh, that's not what I want to jump, you big boy.
don't, please. I'm spoken for.
Anyway, fast forward. This has not been a good day for me, people.
Okay.
Why?
So since John won't tell
Forgot
the
the
story,
turkey fryer.
what had happened
Got
was
the goddamn GoPro.
I forgot we even had a podcast to record today.
I showed up late.
yeah, there's no GoPro, so there's no video again. Thank you, John, once again. You have
You know what?
failed this podcast.
To all our viewers,
No, he's not.
I'll never.
He's got a smirk on his face. I'll take a picture of it. I'll put it up. That'll be what we see the whole time we're listening to this podcast. Is his smirk on his face.
What's going on over there?
Pop the top.
Hmm.
So anyway, the guy who invented this did it for some royalty, and the royalty said, "I want to make sure this works. Crawl in and see."
Okay.
So the premise behind it was they would put the person in and then they would light the fire, then put the person in. What?
You accused me of cutting her off. You just completely taken the reins, shut her down.
You started with
I'm used to
This
it.
is the Mike show.
I'm used to it.
I'm done.
That's why I take the back seat.
I'm done. Forget it.
Oh, we had the angry Mike shove.
That's usually John's thing.
That's the top ring finisher. When I've had enough, I shove my mic away in anger. Fuck you and fuck you and fuck you.
That's what John did last week.
No, it wasn't last week. It was 2 weeks ago. And quite honestly, I mean, he probably did have every right. I was a belligerent drunk.
You were a little bit.
I'm sorry, guys. It was a rough week.
Again.
Again. But anyway,
Katie,
All right,
what do you got?
Can we
Actually-
talk something other than the fucking brazen bull?
talk
You
about
brought it up, bitch.
we could, before I got so rudely interrupted, but didn't push my mic away or sit here and cry about it. We could talk about my favorite method of execution, which is why I really wanted to start talking about this. And actually, there are two separate methods,
I think I know what it is.
but they go into one.
No, I'm just throwing that out there.
We're not going to
So-
interrupt you.
My favorite method, which I think I would take great pleasure in, is
Spit it out.
flaying people alive.
Playing.
Flaying people, but
You really,
more
you really think you
specific.
could do that to a human?
Oh my god, yeah. But more specific, I did it to a squirrel once. But and a couple deer.
You're a serial killer.
They were dead.
Alive or I guess you would have to, flaying alive.
Yeah, it is flaying alive. They were never dead when they were flayed.
What would be the point of cutting them up once they're
Exactly.
dead?
But more importantly,
That'd be mutilated corpse.
I'm done.
There goes the
Yo,
mic show.
easy, Anthony. You don't know about Anthony.
Nobody knows about Anthony.
Well, I'll tell you about.
What are you gonna tell us, Mike? 96.9.
Yeah, if you stick your dick in a piping hot pizza lasagna. That's called the Anthony.
Oh, you just let him fuck your face. Anyway, back to topic at hand here. Flaying alive, but more importantly, go ahead. I know you're looking at me like you want to say it, so go ahead and say it.
I'm not going to interrupt you.
The blood eagle.
Yes, that's what I was
completely
saying.
different than flaying alive.
It's almost they're
Nice.
similar.
No.
They're very similar.
No.
Oh, because I did 11 pages of research, so let me just tell you about the differences between flaying someone alive and cutting their back open and making it into a piece of the wing. Listen, my
Hold on,
topic.
1 second. I just want to interrupt for 1 second. It's 11 pages typed.
Front and back.
Front and back. Go ahead.
You got me beat.
I worked 80 hours this week. I don't have that kind of time.
I don't sleep.
I barely have time to play with a laser pointer.
I'm here to say play with yourself.
No,
I've neglected myself in that area quite a lot this week. But no, I think they're similar. And researching flaying alive is what led into my interest in Blood Eagle because what happened.
I watch Vikings. That's
So
why I was
exactly-
interested
So
in
do
Blood
I.
Eagle.
But
I've heard of it before, but what exactly is the Blood Eagle?
Oh, it's
So-
brutal.
I feel like Mike was going to be telling you that. But the person is restrained, they're face down, and the shape of an eagle with outstretched wings is cut into their back. So basically, they just take them and like make wings out of their back.
Out of the rib cage?
You've seen it was in I believe it was in Game of Thrones.
It was in
No,
Vikings.
It was in one of
I
them,
didn't watch
Vikings or Game of
Vikings.
Thrones. That's
It was in Vikings.
It was in Vikings, but they hung the guy then. But so then they take an axe to your spine, your ribs are hacked. Like it's fucking great. It's fabulous. And
Reserve
one
that
by
for the worst of people.
but wait, that's not even the worst part.
That's in the,
One by one, your bones and the skin on both sides are like plucked outward, so it looks like a pair of wings on your back. So your skin is flayed, then your ribs are cracked,
and
then your bones are spread out.
And then?
Jesus fucking Christ, Mike! Can I finish what I'm gonna say?
The best part's coming.
Wait a minute.
You would,
Have
hold
you-
on. You need a punctuation. Everything. The best part is coming.
Ah!
I don't think that's necessarily punctuation. I think that's spelling.
Which I'm horrible at.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Mike would spell it with a U. Anyway, have you ever heard of the term pouring salt into the wound? Well, that's basically what they would do. That's actually not basically, that is exactly what they would do.
No, there's more.
Jesus
How would you keep the
Christ.
person awake? You would think they'd pass out or die of blood loss.
After your bones were spread out, they put a saline stimulant, salt,
Keep your ass-
aka salt,
Like
into the
smelling
wound
salts.
to really make you feel it. And then
Just in case it was.
your lungs would be pulled out of your body and spread over your bones to look like a pair of fluttering.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, it's brutal.
Because as you died, they would look like the wings were moving, like a fluttering motion, and that was.
Now I could see them fucking Vikings in this shit.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. It was very ritualized, and it was taken very, very seriously. It's actually like it's really well researched. Really, this one is well known. This one,
It's also disputed.
I'm not having fun with this episode because of you. It's because of you,
I'm just telling you what the research
Well, who
says.
disputes it?
Hold on. So,
flirters.
if you
Fucking flirters.
if you watched Vikings, which you said you didn't, but you
I
have,
watched
right?
some of it.
Ragnar Lothbrok was he went and he sacked England. He got caught, thrown into a snake pit, and killed. His son, and this is
I remember seeing that episode.
well, this is not just from the show. This is historical fact, supposedly. His son Ivan the Boneless then sacked York to take revenge on King Alia, and this was the first known performance of the Blood Eagle. But they say that it's so grisly and gruesome that they don't think anybody could ever carry it out with someone living.
See, I doubt that though. I don't think that's
I'm
true.
sure they
The
do
Vikings were fucking barbarians. Like that, they would sacrifice their own fucking people to the gods.
Yeah.
Because we had a poor crop season. So I don't know. Let's kill fucking James over here because he's just next on the list
he
to
was
die.
lazy. James was lazy. Just saying, he was
Hey,
lazy.
James, you forgot the fucking GoPro again.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Sucker.
You were 10 minutes late without the fucking GoPro, James. We're sacrificing you to the gods for the sake of our crops this year.
But the other,
But I brought wings.
oh, you got wings.
You're about to be one.
The other thing about the Blood Eagle was if the victim was Viking and cried out at all during the process, they would not go to Valhalla.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
How do you
There's some tough
not cry out?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Well,
I mean-
did you ever see that video of the two Mexican guys getting their head
Yes.
cut off with a chainsaw?
Yes, you showed me that video.
And yeah, that was they had like the same mantra, like don't fucking act like a bitch. Like, go out like a man.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's not even, I think it's your body's unconscious response to pain. And that's not even like, I don't care how tough you are. At some point, when your skin is being flayed from your back and your rib cage is being crushed with an axe, you're gonna say something.
Hey,
Do something.
Any chance I can get a pillow?
Dude, I can't
starting to
even.
cramp up a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. It's my
I can
favorite.
Totally see that happening. Like, and that's like just because you have some sick motherfuckers back then. Like,
You did.
Look what they do now. Like the two dudes getting their heads chopped off with a chainsaw. Just all the shit that the cartels do. I mean, that's pretty fucking gruesome. I would sure as hell label that as torture.
Yeah.
Like the one video. I saw years ago. This was like a room. It was lined with plastic, and they had this poor fucking guy dangling from his feet, tied up. His hands were tied behind his back, and there was like mariachi music playing in the background. The guy's dancing around with a knife in his hand, and he's just fucking just cutting pieces off his legs, cut his dick and balls off. The guy's just flopping around, flailing him back and forth. I'm like, oh.
Did I mention that I saw a dude cut his own ball sack open once?
You did. We were just talking about this last week.
Yeah, we were.
Wow.
So,
But yeah.
So I would imagine this shit happened more than
It told you it was ritualized. They took rituals very seriously.
Yes,
That's why I don't care. Oh, you couldn't do it because it was another human. Are you kidding me? Like, you know the shit that they would go through. They could do it.
No, I think they could, absolutely. I'm just saying the research says
I think
it's in dispute.
I think the only way that I could do something that violent to somebody did something to one of my loved ones, then I would just rage out. But just to sit here and be like, well, I feel like I'm gonna fucking something.
So,
don't think
I don't know if this is so or not, but I think I heard, because I didn't research this, but supposedly Ragnar Lothbrok, his existence is in dispute too.
Mm-hmm.
So if he was the first one to get it, or not, it was the cause of his death caused the first person to get it. I don't know.
Everything is in these days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't even matter now.
But when I was looking at flaying, I saw that the Assyrians.
my name is Reek.
The Assyrians came up in almost every form of torture that I found.
Anthony.
Every single form of torture I found, the Assyrians someplace in it.
Yeah.
Practiced the
Who,
ritual.
Sumerians?
No, Assyrians. The
Assyrians?
Assyrians.
Oh, you got me an ass.
You had the ass.
Ironically, flaying was believed to begin at the ass column.
Nice.
Well, I mean, it's just like an orange. You go for that little button thing on the top because it's just easy to grab and peel.
When you gut an animal, where do you go?
Huh?
Ass to the sternum, right?
Yep. Unless it's a rabbit. Skinning rabbit's really easy. You cut around the neck, just grab the skin, and you flick it, and the skin comes right off.
Huh. Look at how we did that squirrel.
Squirrels are the same way.
They cut it in the belly and then just like, I remember stepping on its tail and like just ripping the
Yeah, it
right
comes off pretty easy.
We cut its tail off.
I still have pictures of its head and
Squirrel, that's
skin
sick.
laying in the sink.
That's sick.
What was sick was John putting stinger rounds in the 22, and when I shot it, it was literally like, poof, poof, and all I saw was this fucking squirrel's tail helicopter. I'm like, I think I got it.
You exploded
and
it.
I hit him so hard his fucking eyeball came out of his skull. It was like, and this is why we're doing this topic.
You sick fuck.
Nah.
I just never understood why people. Now you could probably tell me that. Feel like you've done this before or heard you say it before.
Torture somebody?
No. When you
not on camera.
When you wound a deer instead of shooting it in the head to kill it, I hear some guys will split their throat.
I slit their throat. Yeah.
But why do you do that?
Because he can't hit it with a bullet.
13 times. He's fucking gonna kill me.
It would only be 9 because I guess a deer is a bigger target than a raccoon.
Push the mic away.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm out.
So why do you kill him that way?
I like the sight of blood.
So I always thought maybe it had an advantage of
because I know it's gonna die. Because if I get the knife in, it's gonna die.
I just thought it would. That just seems
okay, Rambo.
I just thought it would be a quicker death to shoot it in the head. Now, even in the like the Pennsylvania hunting books, they say there are no mercy killings. You're supposed to let it bleed out.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let an animal suffer.
Yeah.
I hunt, but I will not let an animal suffer.
But it's interesting.
But 2 of the 3 times I did it, I didn't have a gun with me. I've cut a deer's throat 3 times. Twice I didn't have a weapon with me. The 3rd time, it was just for fun. No, it's just habit. You grab the knife, you pull the head up.
You didn't call it a motherfucker at any time, did you?
Dude, that is not even
you
cool.
Fucking motherfucker! You. Actually, I thought it was hilarious, but I'm still laughing at like watching you hunt without a gun. I don't need no fucking. Put that fucking knife between your teeth as you're painting your eye black on. Yeah, brother.
I jump out of the tree with my knife in my mouth.
Wow.
To pull the hammy! Ah!
I think this is why nothing ever gets done in this podcast.
I tore a quad.
Not funny. Too soon, bro. Too soon.
Sorry, Jack.
Wow. Jack's my people.
I love Jack.
Soon. Too soon.
Well, you want
to talk about bad taste? Okay. That was worse than motherfuckers.
No, it was not.
It was.
No.
It's been how many fucking years since it's been?
Listen, just because you have a tattoo of a dreidel on your chest,
dude.
Shalom.
Shalom to you too.
Shalom alaikum.
Great.
Whose phone is still on?
John.
My bad. That's my girlfriend.
So, did she break up with you yet?
No.
She just did. That was the breakup text. So give me yours.
My worst one that I could think of was the Judas chair.
Judas chair. I didn't look up any of the chairs.
It's not a chair. It's actually.
I was gonna say.
It's a big wooden pyramid. Comes to the point they would
was gonna say it's been called the Judas chair, but the Judas cradle is another name for
Judas
it.
cradle.
It's
I did not see this one at all.
So it's a 4-sided pyramid, comes to a point, and they fucking tie your legs up. You're naked. Then they tie your hands up and they put you on like a block and a pulley.
Can you guess why this is his favorite?
Does he get tied up?
No. Did you not hear what he just wait. Let him talk about it.
They'll attach you. They'll attach your hands to a pulley so they can lift you up in the air, and then they sit you down on this point of this sharp wooden.
Okay, all right, I get it.
Wooden pyramid, and sometimes they would weight your legs down, or they would spin you around in circles, ream your asshole out, and then most of the time the people would die of infection.
So it's almost like impalement.
Well, I don't know how far the pyramid goes in your ass, but yeah, it's certainly in there. But it wouldn't go all the way through you.
Why you say it with such a smile?
And this is why butt plugs
I
are
don't
tapers.
know. Mine have jagged edge.
That's a pretty big jagged edge just going right in your asshole.
I just can't imagine. Not alone, like, I don't know when the last time you rode a bike is. Not a motorcycle, but an actual bike. And you're fucking in between your legs hurt. They get sore from. It was brutal. I did it years ago, and I vowed I'd never ride another fucking bike again in my life.
Me and Katie are both just looking at each other, shaking our heads.
But that times like a million.
Wow.
That's all you got? You're just going to fucking mock me for being gay?
I didn't say it.
Never. All are
I was
accepted here.
told by a fan, I call you gay too much.
And
I believe that.
I'm
I
not
think about
gay,
some
by
of
the
those
way. I'm bisexual.
things. Same girl, same.
Nobody
We don't
judges
judge
you.
here.
The world guessing.
But
So when we started talking about this subject, you spit one out like right away.
I can spit a few out. There was the
That's not it.
gapism. It was scapism.
Yep.
Katie, this is your people's right here. Did you hear this one?
I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to be offended or.
No. You'll be proud. So another form of Viking torture was they would get a log and they would basically hollow it out to fit your body. So go around your body like a clamp, and your arms and legs and head would be sticking out. Then they would force feed you with a funnel, milk and honey to give you diarrhea, and then they would pour honey all over your face and then float you out into like the middle of a swamp and just watch you just shit yourself, get infected, get eaten by bugs.
I've seen it done a couple different. I've heard about it done a couple different ways because they're known as boats.
Boat? Yeah.
So it was like a
She was
Persian.
in Jersey once or twice.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Or
know
the
that.
drunkard's cloak.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was a Persian method of execution.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you did. You got it really wrong. But that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
this-
you've
I was gonna say
offended no
this one's-
Vikings. You only
I was
offended the
gonna
Jews
say.
tonight.
it's he was right about the milk and they were forced to eat the milk and the honey so that they would develop diarrhea and then the insects would come and
It's like it took
Blah,
over
blah, blah.
2 weeks to die that way.
I can't even handle being down at the beach with them biting flies. I'm a little bitch.
he
Yeah,
really
but just
is.
not at the beach.
And I can't imagine this. And you have no defense. You just eat your fucking eyeballs out. Ugh.
Well, they
But
call,
it's a very slow death, and most of the time delirium would set in before death. So at this point, you're dehydrated, you're starving, and at this point there's infection in your body. You're septic. You're going into septic shock, and now your brain's you're delirious. So I mean, you almost die high on delirium, but at the same time, you've suffered quite a bit to get to this point. So now you're left out in stagnant water with bugs and infection and death looming upon you in the sun, and you're just basically rotting and
it's disgusting.
dying.
Yeah.
And
Well, they call it the boats because they'll take 2 boats and put you in between them and float you out. And the drunkard's cloak is they do a barrel. It's the same thing, but it's in a barrel. That is nasty.
I don't know. Well, that seems pretty cool to me. I don't know. What about the Spanish tickler? Anybody hear about that one?
Wasn't that an item in a vending machine?
I think I did see that one
bathroom
someplace.
Yeah, I think you can get it for like 50 cents. So it might be 75, right next to Evening Magic. But so it was a device used in Europe in the Middle Ages, and it was basically like a meat cleaver, and was used to tear the victim's skin apart.
They just hack them apart.
And because of the way it was shaped, your muscles and your bones were collateral damage.
Ooh.
Also known as
So-
a cat's paw.
You would be tied up.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. Okay, I know what you're saying.
You'd be tied up, and then your limbs were slowly removed.
Oh, slowly removed.
And they'd do everything. They'd work their way up slowly and end with your face. So
If you were still alive.
it was basically, you died in somebody else's hand with this thing, but the spikes were so sharp that they pretty much tore everything apart. And again, this is one of the things that was used mostly during the Spanish Inquisition. But
Fucking
yeah.
Spaniards.
yeah. So I thought that one was pretty cool, just because if you look at the pictures, they're pretty intense. And I'm always intrigued by those meat pullers. When you go to like the grocery store and shit, and you see those, I just want them. Like that's Freddy Krueger shit right there. Like just come at me, bro. I'm gonna fight you. Fight you with meat cleavers. I'm gonna fight you with meat pullers in my hand. Call me the Spanish tickler.
Call me the Spanish tickler.
But no, I mean it's torture. It's designed to be torture. But
Somewhere I read that the most painful form of torture was the rack. Was there two different forms of the rack? There was one where they would 4-point you and then spin you around, and then just people would hit you with whatever the fuck they want. What was the one that stretched you out?
That was the wheel,
Well,
the flying wheel or something like that.
What he's talking about was used commonly in medieval times.
Yeah.
And it was basically designed to dislocate all of your joints,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you've ever done that on purpose or
Catherine's
not.
wheel.
But
I've seen.
no, they were two different things.
I've
The
seen
rack
somebody-
and Catherine's wheel were two different things.
Well, yeah, but what he's talking about, I think, is Catherine's wheel.
Well, what I wanted to touch on was
That says the victim would be tied and spun while the executioner delivered bone-shattering blows to the body.
yeah.
Yes, this was
breaking-
No,
just
it wasn't that one. It was the one where they pull you and dislocate all
this.
your
Yes,
joints.
this
Right,
one
right.
was just a slow pulling. So it started out where all of
Wasn't
your
it called the rack?
where the dislocation until is the rack. You were basically tied by your arms and your legs,
Yeah.
and a wheel was turned until you were basically just like stretched. So
It's
it
called
was
the sack.
It,
Some guy
Jesus Christ.
Some guy just stacked you.
Some guy just constantly tie you down, and he just keeps like
Oh.
squatting up and down and plopping his sack on top of his forehead.
That's Katie's favorite torture.
No,
Oh God, it smells! There's a hair in my mouth.
but this was actually believed to be the most painful form of medieval torture.
You've dislocated joints before, haven't you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is it?
To dislocate a joint or relocate a joint?
Dislocate it?
Oh, reducing a freaking joint. Oh,
I've seen somebody dislocate their shoulder, and it looked extremely painful.
It's not as bad as long as you're immobilized. But if you're not immobilized, like when you go to pop it back in, it's the most painful thing. And then it's pretty much over.
when I was wrestling, my tag team partner, Love Bug, he dislocated his shoulder, and it was it was so bad. His bone was underneath his pectoral muscle. Like the doctor said, I don't even know how he did it. So I went to the ER after we finished the match, of course, and then we went to the ER, and I'm standing there, and the doctor says, "Look, you're going to have to help me reduce this. You're going to help me put it back in." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He goes, "I just want you to grab his hand, put your feet in his armpit, and pull." And I said, "Is that going to hurt him?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." So
You sick bastard.
oh, when I did it, the scream that came out of that boy, oh my God.
Guess he's not going to Valhalla.
No, he's not. But he was a trooper. As soon as he put it back in, the pain was gone.
That's so weird.
But it looked ugly. He went over the top rope and hit the apron and then hit the floor. Oh, it was just ugly.
Yeah.
What about the gridiron?
I wasn't done talking about Catherine's
Oh,
wheel.
I'm
but-
sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I mean, I was going to try to, make this podcast flow a little bit, but you do you, bro.
No, go ahead, Tom.
Now,
No.
who would be? Would it be the victim that you fucked over and their family? Sort of like in Iraq and Iran, it's like you get accused of raping somebody's daughter. Like the guy's the father is allowed to shoot you. So is it like sort of set up like that? Like if the guy victimized somebody's family, the family could just, all right, guys,
Come and take wax.
come and take wax. Yep, you got about a half an hour. Grab whatever the fuck you want. Nothing sharp,
I
just
think you
heavy.
should still do that
blood.
today.
I agree. I think that
I think there'd be a whole
Let-
stoning,
blah, blah, blah.
hanging, firing squad, I think it should all be a thing. Fuck lethal injection.
Yeah, fuck swabbing their arm before you do it.
Have you ever heard that there were that it wasn't exactly as humane as they say it is if they botch it? So basically, I forget the three serums that they use, but it's just the one that they miss. They can basically they can feel everything.
Yeah. It should be one to slow your breathing, one to render you unconscious,
Yep.
and then one to stop your heart.
But I think you should give the one to stop the heart to save the money.
They've had
Dude, they charge people $800 to kill their dog that way. And you're going to do this to people for free? No. Fucking let them suffer.
well, I guess they've had inmates who've woken up in the process of it or didn't die, and then they had to set another execution date.
More.
Yeah, ma.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So
Sorry.
am
Not sorry.
Hey.
I mean, the list, I think, is pretty much endless. So I was looking just today, and I didn't even think about like psychological torture, but that's not where we were going with that.
Some of these tortures, and I was gonna roll into that, is some of these were psychological tortures. Like not all of these are as gruesome as everybody thinks. Like one of them that I found was it was immurement. I can't pronounce it. IMNUREMENT.
What's that one?
So basically, it's permanent confinement of a person by walling off any exit. So now nobody's torturing you with knives or anything, but it's intended as a form of imprisonment for life. So this is what they would consider capital punishment.
Oh, they would starve to death then.
I mean, I guess, but
An obelisk.
death is the inevitable result. You're
locked in a room, no contact with anybody.
Yeah.
Well, you look at like back in the day with solitary confinement. They did almost the same thing. They put you in a little fucking hole, shut the lights off. You got, I think, one meal a day, and you didn't see the light of day for weeks, sometimes months on end. And you call it what it is, but yeah, it's a form of torture.
But there was actually somebody who had lived for 4 years after being immured. I mean, eventually you die, but she survived for 4 years. I would lose my mind before anything else, I think. I mean, that's terrible. I would rather somebody flay me open and break my bones than lock me in a place with no exit. That's psychological. That is completely psychological. Shoot me, kill me, beat me, make me bleed. I don't care. But
sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Beat me. That should be the name of the podcast or this episode. Beat me, shoot me, care.
Beat me, make me bleed. Done.
You're not gonna have to use it now.
I know, but no. I mean, they had some weird shit.
Are you more afraid of physical? Well, I think I know the answer to this. Physical or psychological?
Psychological. I can handle any amount of physical pain. It's when it's all psychological.
Mike, I think you'd be the same. I think you would withstand physical pain better than you would psychological.
Oh, much better than I would psychological. Yeah, my mind works in a very straight line.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, sometimes physical pain
Jesus Christ, all I'd have to do is not bring the GoPro in.
Yeah! That was like the 15th time, bro. I mean, 15. There's a limit.
Have you ever seen, for a while there, I was watching this show called SAS, Who Dares Wins, and that's their motto of the SAS. But it was a show, main guy was Ant Middleton in the SAS, and so it's a bunch of SAS guys, and they'll take 20, 30 people, volunteers. They could be celebrities, they could be just people off the street with everything. They just want to prove something, and they put them through basically SAS training. And it's a lot of physical activity, but it's mostly probably 95% mental. And they fucking break these people down, and they get to like what is the heart of your friend. And a lot of these people that they
break people down and they build them up.
Right, and a lot of people can't take it.
Right.
So there's only a select few that can have that mental
that's
capacity.
why there's only so many people in special forces.
Right. So either you got it or you don't.
Yeah.
And but a lot of these people, they'll bring them in and interview them, and they're still in the running, so they're like basically interrogating. But almost every single one of them has some kind of skeleton in the closet, or some horrible story where that would just fuck you up. And even the SAS guys do too, and it's the same for U.S. Special Forces too. And I think they started having. I think there was a show just like that years later, but it was here in the States, and I think it was the Navy SEALs were doing. And it's the same thing, same mentality.
Well, I saw they took some cross team or something.
Yes, that was they were doing the buds training.
Yeah, to the buds training, and like none of them made it.
No,
none of them.
I mean, they always say too, like you could see the biggest, burly, strongest guy, and he'll fail right out. You see this scrawny little guy, and he seems to make it.
It's your mental acuity, 100%.
Yep,
it really is.
But I mean, I would think buds, that is sort of like a form of psychological and physical torture.
Absolutely.
And they're there volunteering, so you can tap out at any time you want, ring the bell. But I've heard people saying like your fucking nipples are just bloody, chafed straight off because of the sand.
Oh,
your groin area, your fingers from doing pull-ups in the sand. You're passing out from being hypothermic half the time.
My uncle was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, he said
he was like a Navy SEAL back in like the 70s, back when they were frogmen, and like through the 70s, and he's a badass. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know him when I was growing up because I didn't have that relationship with my family. But when I finally met him, we traded stories because we're both in the Navy, and he's just a badass dude. He's crazy. I love him.
I think also there's type 2 that can take the physical abuse, but they're just they'll keep going, and they'll tell them like, yeah, you're tough, but you're not mentally there. Like you're dragging us down.
Right.
Like you can do it, but you're slow.
Right.
And so either step it up or get the fuck out. I don't have the. I think psychological torture would fuck me worse than physical.
I think I agree with that.
Absolutely.
What about Ling Chi?
Oh, yes.
Is that the 1,000 slices?
Death from 1,000 Cuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's been alluded to in many movies that I've watched. I've
It
watched
has.
a lot of Chinese kung fu movies, and they've alluded to that.
There was a picture in one of my books that I have, and it shows there's a black and white photo. It was in like 1910 or 05
1905 is when it was banned.
in Shanghai, and there was a lady, and she had like I think her one breast was cut off, and the caption at the bottom of the photo said, "This is a lady being killed by 1,000 slices."
The caption was, "I lost my boob."
Anybody seen my boob?
Anybody see my boob?
Trail of blood right behind it.
I know I had two when I came in.
You guys don't even understand. You just...
You understand, Katie.
John. You understand like that boobies.
Ling Chi was translated as the slow process, the lingering death, slow slicing. And it was used in Vietnam and Asia. China. Started at 900 CE. What's CE?
Sounds like you didn't do enough research.
Well,
Could have had a whole entire page on what's C.
I probably could. It was banned in
900th century?
1905.
19th century?
They said mostly Westerners were executed in this manner.
Oh, you stupid Westerner.
Well,
You and your train tracks.
There was, when I was doing my research, I looked up the guillotine. Although it's not torturous. Why are you looking away? Because I have like 2 pages on
like
the guillotine.
1,400 fucking pages. I mean, there's
Honestly, I don't think that is a form of torture. I think it's a
No.
it's
very
a form of
humane way to die.
execution.
It actually came up because they said that the way they were executing prisoners was inhumane.
Right.
So they wanted to come up with a process that would make it quicker and more humane for people.
Okay, but this is supposed to be about brutality.
I know, but listen.
I think a bullet to the heart is pretty fucking humane, too.
Listen. So the first person who was executed by guillotine.
Jean Lejean?
No.
Jean Lepierre?
No.
Pierre?
No.
Pierre de Lesogna?
Not him.
St. Ides.
No. Nicholas Yaquez Pellier.
Milliers. George
I'm pretty
Méliès.
sure you missed.
Milliers.
Anyway, he was executed by guillotine, and the crowd all would gather for the public execution, and it happened so fast, and it was so like clinical that they were like, "Bring back the hangings! Bring back!" They were all chanting, "Bring back the hangings!"
Because it took longer?
No, because the hangings took longer. It was more brutal. They wanted to see the brutality, but
So if the build up this, that's it?
in 1939 they banned public executions in France. So they still used the guillotine, but they used the guillotine until 1977.
Good.
Yep.
Like, I just thought that was weird. Like, something like that being used in my lifetime.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yes, I was 7 years old.
Killing a person. No matter if you chop their head off or shoot them or inject them with something.
But just for reference,
The electric chair.
the last execution by guillotine was done 5 months after Star Wars was released in the theaters.
Wow. Huh. That kind of brings it home.
I know it does.
What about the electric chair? You think that's a form? I know it's a form of.
It's a form of execution.
Capital punishment.
I mean, I would think that.
It all depends if you get the sponges wet or not.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to wet the sponges. Percy, you goddamn fool! Didn't they beat him till he pissed himself, or the guy fucking did something to him?
Hey, he grabbed him by the throat till he pissed himself.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It is a great movie.
That's an episode.
Another topic for a podcast.
Yes,
however,
John Coffey, just like to drink, only spelled different.
Only spelled different.
I'm tired, boss.
Mostly I'm tired.
He's
of people
dead now.
being
Isn't he?
ugly
Died
to each
years
other.
ago.
Yeah,
Poor dude.
unfortunately.
There was also a form of execution called a Republican marriage.
Ugh. I think marriage in
I
general.
was just gonna say it. Thank you, sir. Marriage in general is a form
Boom,
of
blow it up.
execution.
Slow.
Slow, painful death.
Foot
Please-
roasting.
Okay.
You ever hear that one? So basically, very simple. Just clamp your feet over a fire and just roast your fucking feet off.
Fire in general was just a common way to die. Burning at the stake, gridiron.
Although, didn't they say that most people who are burned at the stake died from smoke inhalation?
You will die. Well, you will die of carbon monoxide poisoning before you die of your actual burns. Burning won't necessarily kill you. The carbon monoxide from the smoke and the byproducts of combustion are what will kill you before.
Can you imagine that if they put like an oxygen mask on you and then burned you at the stake?
Do you know how many times? And I used to be a firefighter.
So you feel every little fucking thing.
How many times I've seen people who were on oxygen smoke, and that's how we found their corpses.
Jesus Christ!
Because you're smoke. It's fucking great.
They blow themselves up.
Oh yeah, basically, people don't understand that concept.
Flammable oxygen is.
Yeah. So like it's just funny that you said that. Place an oxygen mask on somebody burning at the stake. That's basically what people do when they sit in their recliners and light a cigarette up when they're on high flow O2. You're asking for trouble, brother Maine. You're playing with fire.
I don't understand. He just pile of ashes. He disappeared. Spontaneous combustion. He was just fucking smoking while he had his O2 tank.
Yep.
Puffing away on his O2 tank.
So there's your fire tip for the year, guys. Don't smoke while you're on oxygen. You'll die.
Catch me next time. Bacon. Sizzler.
Bacon. Speaking of bacon, I know you had brought up about the gridiron. I mean, that's basically what we did last week. But instead of a human, we roasted
pork.
A pig.
Was that a pork shoulder?
No, that was a brisket. That was a beef brisket. It was beef.
Oh, so you lied.
I did lie.
Huh.
Yeah, fucking maybe drive all the way out there for lies?
Yeah, lies.
You
didn't like that lie?
It was all right.
That was a lie you could swallow.
It was okay.
I honestly thought it was better just on its own.
That's what I told you. I'm telling you, it's blasphemy to put anything on brisket.
Well, it's not blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
It's not, yes.
But honestly, it tasted better.
Of course it did. If it's done right.
God.
It was okay.
I take my smoking of meat very seriously.
I take anything you do with meat very seriously.
Well, okay, back to
What about? Did you know?
Hold on, wait. I was going to go back to
roasting feet.
No, the electric chair. Mm-hmm. If you knew you were going to get fried in a fucking chair, I think there's got to be some kind of psychological.
Fuck yeah!
Any form of torture or execution has got to be psychological.
Yes and no. You ever been tased?
Yeah.
So have I, and
Several
I would
times.
not want to be put in an electric chair.
I have video of you getting tasered. Not the what's the yellow Jones?
Stunned?
No, the gun.
Taser.
It's got a name.
A taser.
But there's also, remember when my cousin tased you?
Mm-hmm. But it was
that was a stun gun, I think.
Well, I think she said she had probes for it, but what she gave me was there's a term for it. I can't remember what it's called.
A dry stun.
Dry stun. That's what it is. She dry stunned me twice.
Dry stun. That
got a video.
Kinky.
I'd much rather be.
Do you think if she held it up, because from what it looked like for me, like she hit the button, it stopped, and then she touched her arm, but you had a reaction.
The second time I had more of a reaction because she didn't let off.
But do you think if she shoved it into your neck and held down the button?
Oh my god, yeah.
You'd be on the ground.
The more muscular you put, so my arm wasn't bad, but if she would have stunned me in the leg, or she would any place that's more muscular, you're gonna feel it more. If she would have hit me in the stomach, I probably would have just thought it tickled because I have so much insulation there.
Remember
did you ever see the slow-mo videos?
Oh yeah,
where they did a taser in slow-mo, and you could watch as
his muscles contract.
You could watch the muscles contract across his chest.
Yeah,
it's called a full lockup. It's great.
Well, I know. I've
never had the.
I've been tasered by taser, by barb, and by a shield.
And by dick.
No. The one time at one of the jails I worked at, we were doing a cell extraction, and they had a taser shield. So I was the first one in because I was always the biggest guy.
I'm impervious to physical pain.
So I went in and I was supposed to hit the guy. Well, when they went to open his cell, the guy charged out. So I stepped back to brace and wait for him, and then take him down. And the guy behind me had the shield, and he hit the button, and I went right to the ground. and I'm like, dude, what the hell happened? And as I'm yelling at the dude, the sergeant comes in, and I just took the shield, and I said, how'd the button stick? And I put him up against the wall, and I zapped him. And the sergeant's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, nothing. I accidentally got tased. I'm sorry. I'm not in my right mind.
I never had the full-on probe taser. I'm terrified of that because I don't know. I don't want my heart to fucking stop.
Lightning. It doesn't stop your heart.
Also, too, I know I've got back issues, so I don't want.
And he's got a pin in his hip. You know that?
I know.
Well, no, actually, no. This is a legit concern of mine.
I'm saying you have a pin.
I have back spasms. I get back spasms. So I was always afraid if I would hit that, I would lock up so tight it would fucking rip a muscle or something.
Too soon.
I don't know.
Stop, Jack. I love you.
Wow, again?
I'm just saying, too
wow.
soon. The only person here making jokes about Jack is you. It's you.
Because Jack's not listening.
You know when he finds out about this?
Oh,
it's all over.
He'll have some words for me.
And his mind's like a steel fucking trap.
So, When I got tased with the probes, they had a guy come in, and this was a long, long time ago when tasers were really new, and he was trying to sell them to the prison I was working at the time, and he comes in and he goes, nobody can withstand a taser. It'll take anybody off their feet. And I said, it could take me off my feet. And he's like, it would. So
of course you would be the one to say that.
Of course, because I'm a smart ass. And I was very young at the time. So the guy says, well, I'll show you. He goes, will you submit to being tased? I'm like, sure. So I went in the break room and I took newspapers and I put it inside my shirt.
Oh, classic.
So he went and he tased me, and it hit the papers. It stuck to the papers. It didn't go through. It didn't hit my skin. It didn't tase me. And I just swiped them off when I came walking towards him. And the newspaper started falling out then.
Busted!
And he's like, oh. So he goes, let's try again. He puts another cartridge in. And dude hit me, and I went to the floor. I thought I was going to piss myself. That's the only thing. Please don't piss myself, so I'm not that embarrassed.
I was hit by the EBID. The EBID's nothing. I think that was just, it just makes sure, you're supposed to hit, like you say, Katie, the more muscular part. So you can do, a thigh or your arm if you're holding something. That just makes your arm shake a little bit. It's not painful at all. The shock shield, that hurt a little bit.
The shield hurt. I
had the one that was curved towards the person.
Yeah.
And the LT was like, all right. He's like, walk backwards. You can walk backwards into it, or I can walk into you. So I walked backwards into it, and I got it right across the shoulder blades. And I swear to Christ, it felt like somebody hit me in the fucking back with a ball bat.
Yeah.
It gets your attention.
Yeah, it does.
And that was just one little blip.
And I've seen guys get tased and just brush it off, completely.
It's rare.
It's rare, but I've seen it.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
I've seen guys get tased and not make a sound. Heroes. That was me. That was me when I got tased. I'm pretty sure I screamed like a little bitch. And then the guy who went after me was completely fucking silent. And I was like, it was impressive. Good for him. Great guy. Anyway, back to torture.
Yeah.
What about cement shoes?
Nobody cares.
That's not torture.
Well, no, it is because you drown.
I guess if you're...
They throw you in the river, you drown. But the thing that I found when I was... Or whatever, the river, ocean.
The river and through the woods.
Well,
to Michael's house we go.
They talk about it in mafia movies all the time, but the first verified case of it was in 2016.
Really?
Yeah. That shocked me because you think of all these old gangsters that supposedly...
Probably watching The Sopranos or some shit. I'm like, we gotta try this shit out.
In May 2016, the first and only documented case of cement shoes was reported. The body of Brooklyn gang member Peter Martinez, not Meliez, age 28, better known as Petey Crack, washed up in Manhattan Beach in Brooklyn.
Yo, my name's Petey Crack, yo.
I don't know. That doesn't really seem like torture to me.
He floated to shore due to
like
air in the concrete because it didn't have enough time to dry before that.
Shitty hose concrete.
Now they've used concrete to weight bodies down.
See, there's your first mistake. You got to wrap them in barbed wire.
Oh yeah.
So when they bloat, the barbed wire pops them.
There you go. So anybody out there?
Now, when I think of torture techniques, I think of medieval shit,
like the Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Keel hauling.
Oh, apparently, I just read a thing on that. Not because we're doing this, but it popped up in one of my feeds.
Just because he wanted to.
No, it popped up in one of my feeds. I think I followed this weird history thing on Facebook.
I'm sure it's weird.
And but yeah, basically, when they did that to you, you didn't survive.
No, because of all the undergrowth under the ship.
I mean,
they tie you to a line and pull you either from front to back or side to side, and I don't know. It was either the marine growth would kill you, or you would just.
I'm sure Michael's version of being in the Navy and keyholing is something different than ours.
It is. It is.
That's not the way I remember it. Fuck you. We used to do it raw dog.
It was never side to side.
Were you out keyholing again last night, Michael?
Never side to side, always to back. Well.
So.
The white devil.
I mean, yeah, if you've ever been razor, any kind of muscle attached to rocks or whatever, they're sharp as fuck. They're like little razor blades. And they just getting smashed up against the side of a boat. Well, how long would they do it for? Did they specify?
Till you died. I mean, death was inevitable in that situation.
It was purposely to kill you?
Absolutely. It was mostly associated with pirates, though. That doesn't necessarily mean, it was supposed to, but I mean, you were drug under the boat, so you would either die from losing your limbs or, anything else associated with the undercarriage of the boat, like from barnacles and shit, or you die because you drowned. So either way, it was terrible, horrible, no good, very bad death.
Barnacles. Got a barnacles.
But
Gonna need you to scrape it off.
there was actually one that I found was associated with World War II was death by like bamboo shoots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they would grow a bamboo shoot like through your body. It was thought mostly the Japanese soldiers did this to a lot of the American POWs.
I would believe it.
And it was also tested on Mythbusters.
I was just about to say that, and it worked.
Yeah.
Like it was fast too. What was it, like 3 days?
That's scary.
That's pretty ingenious.
It is. Oh, I hope
It could. They said the bamboo shoot could penetrate through several inches of ballistic gelatin in 3 days. Yeah.
That shit's strong.
That's a form of impalement.
Oh, do we need to talk about impalement, sir?
Yes. We
Yes,
could.
talk about impalement.
I did a little research on
Most
impalement.
favored by none other than Vlad the Impaler. I wonder why. I'll take the rapist for 400.
Could you imagine if his name was just Vlad the Installer?
Yeah.
He wore like a hard hat and work boots and shit, the hammer.
You name your car. Give your car a name. No.
I named my motorcycle. I've named cars in the past, but I haven't named this one. I named my motorcycle.
I had Vlad the Impala.
I remember my sister had a 1978 Buick Skylark, and we called it Shaft. It was fucking beautiful. I love it. It was like brand new. Little old cotton top had it.
Yeah.
Never drove it anywhere.
Stayed in the garage. Never in the rain.
But it was fucking puke green, and my
Back and forth
sister
to church, that was
hated it. Yeah, when I drive, so I always got to drive the car. I loved it.
I bought a Maverick that was puke green. That Maverick was fast. When I rolled that car,
Rolled it?
I rolled it on 78.
Jesus Christ!
It rolled 8 times.
You fucking manimal.
Manimal. I don't know.
But I'm getting a little. Wanted to touch on a little.
What is our how deep into this are we?
Oh, we're like
2
an hour and 15.
Are we really?
Yeah,
We gotta wrap
fuck
this
it.
up.
Keep going. Go make this 2, so we'll drop 4.
I mean,
Well, I still have a bunch.
you could. Yes, the second part could be called "It's Not Over Till It's." Beat me, make me bleed. Part 2, It's Not Over Till.
Look at the denailing. What the hell is that? Dry boarding, dunking,
The rat, death by
Yeah.
rat.
the rats.
Hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Well, the hanging is strappato, also known as corda. It was part of the Inquisition. They would hang somebody with their hands tied and feet tied behind their back by a rope.
I just looked up something that
And then there was one where they
has
would
nothing
do
to do with what we're talking about.
they would do the same thing and drop the person, and it would jerk their bones and it would dislocate stuff.
Yeah.
So they were dead. And then there was another one where they would drop the people on hooks.
Oh.
They would make a gallows and they drop them on a hook, and it's a form of impalement. But then some of the places had it on the side of their parapets, on the walls of the castle. They drop them on these hooks and they would be impaled on them.
They probably just leave them there too. I know in England it was well known that they would leave pirates hung up in the cages and just
Yes.
bones
Yes.
for years.
Yes.
Like 10, 15 years.
It has a weird name too, like
Yeah.
something I can't think of what it's called.
And sometimes they were impaled on a spike.
Gibbing? Is it gibbing?
Yes,
It's called or
gibbing,
something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. England came up with a lot of shit, and England's actually known for like the most brutal form
Yeah.
of execution. Which
And I think I would say most brutal and accounted for. Is that how you say it?
I don't know what word you're saying.
and documented.
It's called shrimp tying. Apparently,
That's
it's
kinky.
Apparently, well, yeah, it's not what you think. It's a form of bondage, but it was on the the picture's fucked up.
I mean, I wasn't thinking of shrimping or anything like that.
Michael, tell us what shrimping is.
I have no idea.
Sure you do. How about docking? Sure you did a lot of that. Sure you did a lot of that in the Navy.
Nope.
Oh shit. Any fucking who?
Stoning to death.
What about the pendulum?
What
Remind
about
me.
It was actually made famous by Edgar Allan Poe in his
Edgar Allan Poe?
Poe.
I'm not familiar with him.
Edgar Allan Poe.
You said
Ground
Poe.
pole. A ground pole.
Where they lay the person down, tie them down, and there'd be a pendulum that swings back and forth, and it would make slices across their midsection. Cut them up.
That does.
No. Eventually, the victim would be cleaved in two, but there is considerable skepticism that it was actually
Again with your skepticism. How about something that was really used, like
the saw.
tarring and feathering?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that wasn't meant to kill someone. That was meant
Yeah, but I think
to humiliate them.
most of the time the person did die of infection because dump boiling hot tar on somebody, they should walk around town looking like a fucking chicken.
Yeah, burning gear. That's burns to over a certain percentage of your body.
And
at that point, you're gonna.
There was no penicillin back then. You're done. Game over. Fucked up, AA Ron.
Yeah, but no amount of penicillin in the world is going to cure it if you're burned in that percent. If that on that throughout that much of your body is losing heat. You're just going to go into hypothermia and die.
Is that how that works?
That's why burns are so
weird.
Why
like
burns take they take the heat out of your body, and that's why hypothermia is a very big risk with people with burns. Or if you're burnt in certain parts of your body, it's really vital like that you're kept warm because you could die.
Wow.
So hypothermia and infection are two very big things with burns.
I know infection because I burnt my arm years ago, and no matter what I tried to clean the shit out of it. And it was rather clean. I didn't have anything on top of it, and it got infected. And I went to the doctor, and I asked him, "Burns? You have a lot of bacteria on top of your skin. It burned it, pushed into your skin."
That's why
probably dumbed it down a lot for me, but
that's why I don't know if you've ever. And this is one thing that I always said. Being a firefighter for so long was I would never want to get burnt to the point where I had to be scrubbed every day, because when you are burnt to that point, they will literally scrub anything that grows over those burns raw again.
That's got to be torture.
And so that you do prevent infection, because at that point you're talking not just infection, skin infection into the bone, septic. That's how you die. Burns are very serious.
I remember
I had second and third degree burns at both my hands.
Really?
Yes. From scalding water. My skin was like peeling down. It was ugly.
Ew. I remember when my cousin broke his neck down at the beach, dove in a wave, snapped his neck, flew him to the hospital, a cage around his neck, and like half-inch bolts just threaded into his fucking skull. And I remember his wife saying that right next to him in the same room was a guy who crashed his motorcycle, and he did the skid, fucking ripped half of his skin off. And she said they had to scrub him every night, and she said the blood-curdling screams that this big bruiser motherfucker was letting out, she said, was just awful, terrifying. You look at this guy, he looked like nothing would bother him until they came in there. And it's literally like, from what my mind sees it, from what she told me, it's like a big fucking scratch brush, like something you scrape paint off of the fucking wall with.
Yeah.
This little, like a big brass toothbrush.
Yeah, it is. It takes a lot to turn my stomach, especially, working in a medical profession, having, a little bit of a background. That's one of the things that I can't even think about, like scrubbing wounds like that. That always turns my stomach.
I think in some way, it may not be a form of torture, but it's some sort of form of psychological something, because we see a lot of shit. I've seen a few things. Mike, you've seen more than me. Katie, you've probably seen your fair share, probably more than me. But still, I can't imagine, like, just constantly having that shit shoved down your throat. Like, hearing some fucking guy screaming his ass off because you're scrubbing him, or actually having to do that. Just, and you get used to it because it's your job. You do it. But I honestly think that takes a toll on somebody.
It's kind of sick to get you. Like,
yeah.
Like, it wears on you.
It does. And, I think that's probably why COs only live to be, like, 55 years old.
I got 5 more years. I'm good.
And, but yeah, I mean, it just, and nobody can say like they won't remember it or it hasn't affected them in some way. So, would you agree with me?
I agree.
Sure.
Do you really?
I do. No, I mean, yeah, it wears on you.
You two are done hanging from your cross. We'll get back into forms of torture, which actually crucifixion actually was.
Yes, it was.
One of the.
Hang on, Michael. Edit in 3, 2, 1.
That'll be the second time somebody popped the top. But, no.
It's up, baby.
Crucifixion. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah. I think this one is probably number 2 on the most painful scale.
Crucifixion?
It's long.
Do you know what would actually eventually lead to your demise when it came to crucifixion?
Yeah, you would suffocate.
Yeah. I didn't think of right away.
Yeah, I didn't know that till years ago. I watched this, I think it was a History Channel documentary on Jesus, and they were trying to figure out like where the cave was that he was resurrected. I think they were hunting down the cross that he used, but what they had said was it's not the cross like you like we're all used straight up and down and horizontal. They said it was more like an X, that you were basically 4-pointed to this X. Katie, take it from here.
It's your story.
No, it's not my story.
I was wondering where you were going to try to go.
No, I did like the first part of it, but well, no, because you
Crucifixion.
have
crucified.
He meant continue on with crucifixion.
yeah, no, because
Well, I mean, there's really not much more
your notes are better than mine.
to say. I mean, you were. It was supposed to be mostly humiliating, but it was considered brutal for. I mean, the way somebody would suffer. Obviously, I don't know. You're hanging there for what? It could have been days. It could have been weeks.
yeah.
But eventually, your body just shuts down. You can't hold yourself up. Now you have bleeding wounds and you suffocate to death, which I can't imagine is pleasant at all.
You can't lift. You just all your weight hangs down and just restricts your airflow to your chest, and you can't.
So you and I would go pretty quick.
Dude, I would go just standing here.
Kate would be okay for a while, but we're going quick.
Yeah. You could probably just hang my hands horizontal.
I think I'd sooner just rip right through the skin on my hands than
Because you have those little baby hands.
try to. They're not baby hands. They're monster paws. But
I think her hands are bigger than yours.
No, they're not. We've been there.
Have we?
We did it when we were in school. You got little tiny hands.
Yeah, they're small.
A lot.
That's my
the only reason mine are bigger than yours is because
Yours are wider than mine.
I have longer fingers. You just
We're
got
about the same.
your little sausages.
We're about the same, except for the half inch I stuck up over here.
What? Lies. Bullshit.
If we had a GoPro, we'd know because it would be on film.
I need my folding roll.
You guys ever hear the Heretic's fork?
Yeah.
It was a two-pronged fork that was two-pronged on both sides. They tie it to your neck, so it would go underneath your chin and into your chest. So you have to stand there, and they tie you up. You have to stand there with your head up. If you fall asleep, it would go down there. What?
Really? All right. Well, close to that one was the impending pair.
That one I didn't hear of.
It's an app.
Sounds like it's got a sequel.
No, it's an apparatus. So, and it was mainly used on women. In fact, I think it was strictly used on women.
I did see that one.
So it was the shape of a pear,
Yep.
and it had like little hooks at the bottom.
It was brass. Yeah.
And depending on what crime you committed, they would either shove it in your mouth, your vag, or your ass, and they would
This doesn't sound so bad.
they would screw it down,
And it would open up.
It opens up like this, but the hooks are on the outside, so it'll dig into you.
So it's basically like going to the fucking gynecologist.
A medieval gynecologist.
It does look like a gynecological tool.
But I think
The
I don't
medical
know.
term is speculum.
I think mainly they shoved it in their mouths for like blasphemous or liars or something like that.
Well, that's with the Heretic's fork. Most of the forks were engraved with the Latin word for "I recant."
Interesting. What about lapidation? Anybody know what I mean when I say that?
Lapidation.
Lapidation.
You're saying big words.
Lapidation is the technical term for a method of torture that's been around for years, but is still commonly used in most other countries today. No? No?
Expand. Lapidate.
It's the technical term. It's the actual term. Form of capital punishment.
Lapidate. It's got a.
What do they do?
You're bound and partially buried or secured somehow, and
Oh, that would freak me out.
people throw stones at you. You may know it as stoning.
So they would bury you in like your head sticking out like an ostrich, reverse ostrich.
No, I mean, not even your head, but you're partially buried, just to the point where you can't even defend yourself or really
I wouldn't
move.
like that.
Really move. Your trunk is immobilized, and they throw stones at you.
I think that would suck. You ever seen a stoning with our fucking sick world that we live in nowadays? You go on E-Bombs World or
It's still legal in a lot of the countries.
Anyway,
Faces of death.
yeah, it's pretty much. I can't think a live leak. They have all that shit on there. I think that is kind of fucked me up in the head somewhat. I've seen a lot of shit, and I was like, man, why do I watch this crap? It's fucking gross. Yeah.
So if going to jail doesn't keep you straight,
Which it doesn't.
all these forms of torture, if you're not in the United States, should help keep you straight.
Oh, I mean, we can't do them anymore. We'll just
Yeah.
give you ice cream and an iPad.
Hey, right, a Samsung.
Yeah. A
I
unicorn.
thought if you went to like the town square and watched somebody get hanged or frickin' filleted or tortured, I think I would think twice about doing
filleted
something
or filleted.
fellatio. If you watched a grown man get blowed by an old grandma in the town square, you'd think twice about stealing that loaf of bread.
Perhaps.
Maybe not. Maybe you like a gum job.
So with that,
I guess it's over.
I think we've come to the end of the road. I'm sure there's
Well,
more
we didn't
out
even
there.
touch on the bazillions and millions of other ones out there.
We strayed off topic quite a lot. I mean, we even had a clear direction for that one, and we managed to go every other way.
It's all right.
but that's what the people love about us.
I don't
That's
know
what
that the
they have
people actually love
requested.
anything about us.
I've read the reviews, and they love us.
Did you write them?
I wrote one of them. Wet baby. I didn't write that one.
That wasn't me either.
I don't know who wrote that one.
Oh well.
I was too busy looking for my GoPro.
You probably
Which you
were.
still didn't find. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to steal Mike's thunder. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you learned something new. Go take on the world.
Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
I'm actually amazed that we're all friends. Mike, I will reach across this table and the whole entire world will hear me bitch slap
Do
you.
you have any duct
Not
tape?
punch you, slap.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.